Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming, and after 205 videos, I think I'm done with the C# portion. And if I do go back and look at my playlists, I don't even know what these are, but I've got Jeff Teaches Programming C# and Jeff Teaches Programming Python. I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to call it Jeff Teaches Programming Front End. That might not be the best name, but it's the one I'm going to use. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to mention a couple things before we get started. And I'm going to go out to w3schools.com, and I'm actually going to go out there 3 times. Alright, why? Well, there's a JavaScript tutorial. There is an HTML tutorial, and there is a CSS tutorial. Alright, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what each one of these are. Now, there are entire courses that you can take on these, and I may or may not have even mentioned this to you before, but if you want to take a look, if you go out to github.com/jpscottrankin, I've got like 300 there's my ugly mug. I've got like 307 repositories out there, and with some of them, if I go back again, notice AWD 1000. That 1000 is a class that teaches HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you look in there, I have no idea how many videos or I should say how much stuff. Those are student files. But if I go out and do this, I'm going to try doing this and see if I can right now. Let's see. I'm going to try to come in here and I'm going to try to do a search. And I'm going to put in here Jeff Scott Rankin Technical College. Alright, there it is. At one time I had about 1,000 subscribers, and if we go out there, what you're going to notice is a boatload. It may not look right now like there's many videos out there, but there should be. Alright, and somewhere out here in this mess, if I go, let's see, playlists. Alright, I don't even know if I made playlists at the time, but yeah, it looks like I have. But there's all sorts of stuff out here. Alright, so if you go out here, let's just pad this. And if you go out to there, or just youtube.com, you don't even need to go to the playlist, but you can. Alright, Jeff Scott Rankin Technical Co. 8834, you're going to find a lot. It looks like I've got almost 3,000 videos out there. Alright, so if you want to take a look at that, you'll be able to. Yeah, let's just minimize that. Alright, so the reason I went out here is if you want to know a lot about HTML, go out to w3schools.com/HTML. Alright, you'll get the HTML tutorial. Okay, I'm going to search in here, and there's a reason I'm doing this. I'm going to type in here HTML tags. Alright, let's see, element reference, HTML tags. Somewhere in here, not right there, unfortunately. Let's try it like this. All HTML tags. Element reference, maybe it's there. There you go. There's somewhere around 100 tags that are available in HTML. So I'm going to give you some URLs here. Get rid of that. There we go. So I'm going to throw a few URLs up here, besides my own that I put up here before, but that's fine. So there's the HTML. There is the one for CSS. And there is the one for JavaScript. I'll double check and make sure those all are correct. And if you want to know all the different tags in HTML, you can go out here. All right. So let's double check. So that is, we just go out to CSS. Yep. And if we just go out to JS, not JavaScript. All right. Let's fix that. There. That would really get you started. All right. Now, I mentioned in the last video at the end that if you want, you can go out and you can Google Brad Traversy, and he's got HTML crash course, he's got a CSS crash course, he's got a JavaScript crash course. It's not my intention here to make you experts in this stuff. Let's just talk a little bit about what each one of these things are. Okay? All right, HTML basically uses tags. It's a tag-based language. All right? And again, if you want to know what those tags are, I just gave you the URL for it. I've seen all sorts of different analogies for this stuff. One was, let's see, there's like a Lego analogy. All right, so you want to build a house using Legos. All right, what do you need? Well, the house should have bricks, should have doors, should have windows. All right, the entire set of building blocks kind of is the HTML. All right, it lets the computer know where to put the pieces, like, you know, for instance, put a title here, put an image here, etc. Put a button here. All right. So it uses these special tags in order to do this. All right. Now, using that house analogy, the next thing to talk about after HTML is CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. HTML is hypertext markup language. CSS is Cascading Style Sheets. Well, you know, we talked about building an analogy, this building analogy rather, using Legos or something like that. All right. So HTML is involved with, if you're building a house, putting the bricks on, putting on the windows, making the roof, etc. CSS is where you come in and you paint the house, for example. All right. It's where you come in and basically add things to the HTML to make it look good. Now, I wasn't even going to do it this way, but I am going to. This is how I typically approach projects like this. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do a new folder, and I'm just going to call it, I don't know, first. Okay, not a great name, but it's the one I'm going to use. Okay, and I'm going to put two folders in here. I'm going to put in one that's called CSS, and I'm going to put in one that's called JS for JavaScript. In addition, I'm going to put in a new file, and I'm going to call this index.html. All right. Now it says it's still a text document, which means that it's actually not saved the way I thought it was. Well, we'll just use that for now. All right. Okay. So typically an HTML document will start like this. I'm just going to show you. All right. And I'm going to keep this unbelievably simple as we start here. All right. So I'm going to put in here. I think it goes up here. Boy, it's been a while since I've even written any HTML. Let's take a look and see what they have here in this example. So let's grab something from here. Here we go. Head. Okay, want the title in there. Okay, we'll just grab all this. All right. Now I want to show you how I like to do this. You don't have to do it this way. But to me, when you tab out the way I'm tabbing here, it makes it easier to see what's what. All right. So doc type HTML in this case means we're using the latest and greatest version of the hypertext markup language. I think it's version 5 or 5 point something. All right. That says that's the type of document that we're creating. HTML is tag based, and most tags have a beginning tag and an ending tag. Not all, but most of them do. All right. So there's the beginning of our HTML document, and here's the end. These HTML documents are made up of 2 sections, a head section and a body section. The head is stuff that doesn't appear on the web page itself. All right, there's all sorts of different stuff we can put in there. Okay, the body section is the stuff that does appear on the web page itself. Now this is going to have a tag in here. It's called an H1 tag. There are actually 6 tags: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Now, unlike the way you might think it is, the smaller the number, the bigger the tag. All right, so let's change this to this is an H1 heading. Just so you can see all these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in all 6 of these. All right, so this will be an H2, an H3, an H4, an H5, and an H6. And of course, you've got to end them correctly too. So I'm going to change this to this is, okay, we'll say an H1 heading. This is an H2 heading. This is an H3 heading. This is an H4 heading. This is an H5 heading. And this is an H6 heading. You'll see this in just a minute because we're going to run this in just a second. Then we have what's called a paragraph tag. All right, and that's for text, not for titles, but for text. All right, so let's do a file. Let's do a save all here. Sure, you want to save all modified documents? No. Let's just do a file save here. That'll work. There you go. Now you can see this is colored typed, so keywords and key things in here are now in blue. Okay, is that a big thing? Not at all. But I just wanted you to know that that's not something I did. Now, for this CSS tutorial, I'm going to write some CSS in a minute, but I want to see somewhere in here they should tell me, garbage, how I can add my CSS. We'll add this. We'll do this. Okay, copy. All right. Now this says the background color of the body of our document should be a light blue. All right. This says that our H1 tags should be white in color and text aligned center, meaning they should be on the center of the page. Well, let's do this. Let's copy this one and let's make something different for each one of these. So our H1 will look like that. Then our H2, let's make that green. Our H3, let's make that orange. RH4. Let's make that pink. RH5. Let's make that yellow. Not hello, but yellow. And RH6, let's make that one black. Now, there's other ways that you can put this in here other than putting the colors like that. All right, I'm not going to get into that now. Notice text align center. Let's make the next one left, and then we'll make the next one right, and then we'll make another one center, and then another one left, and then another one right. Okay? Now, these are going to be bunched up against one another, so after we do this, let's come in here and let's type in BR. That means give me a line break. It's like I hit the enter key and put in a blank line. There, now I fixed those. All right. Now, for this, let's make, I don't know, we use green, how about purple? So, color purple. Okay. Now, we're going to save this, and I'm going to put it under CSS, and I want to call this styles.css. This is where I should have changed it before. Cascading style sheets file. So I should put here styles.css, and that actually did save it correctly. This one is wrong, so let's do a file, save as on here, and let's make sure we save this. It says it's an HTML markup file, but I don't think it is. All right, so now we've got an index.html. All right, now that's what I want. Okay, so in my HTML file, I want to put in this. Okay, hold on. So I'm letting it know the relationship here is going to be a style sheet. It exists under the CSS folder, and it's called style.css. Now, did I do anything special? Let's take a look. All right, there's my index.html file. Let's see. That still says that it's a text document. I don't need that one anymore. There is my index file. All right. Well, it does have everything in there, but it didn't put in my CSS. So I did something wrong. So let's fix it right away. CSS, styles. This has got to be styles, not style. There. Now watch this after I do this. You saw what that looked like, right? Now let's refresh. There you go. There's my H1, my H2, my H3, 4, 5, and 6, and there's my paragraph. All right. Now the only other thing to show you in here quickly, and I'd like to do it quickly, is a little bit of JavaScript. All right. So it says click to display the date and time. Well, notice what we have. All right. It says try it yourself. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that JavaScript. Okay, now there's a lot of ways I can do this. I'm going to put that right inside of my HTML. You don't have to do it like that, and quite often it's not done like that. I'm going to paste that in. All right, so now let's see what we have here. back to my document and refresh. Now at the bottom, there's a button we put in, click me to display the date and time. Well, I don't know where it's showing it, but it should be showing it someplace. Click demo. Oh, I don't have anything called demo. All right, let's fix this a little bit. Type equal button. I just want you to be able to see what's going on here. Update. Okay. So we're telling it here to add a button, and when we click the button, we should find something called demo. All right, and we should have it run the date command on it. All right, so let's go back to that example that we had. Didn't put that in. We needed something called demo in there. All right, so let's put that in there. Now I'm going to get rid of some of these line breaks because it's just a little too hard for us to see everything on the page at once. All right, now let's run it one more time and take a look at what we've got. There you go. There's our H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when we click, there's the date and time. All right, so hopefully you see a little bit of the power of the stuff that you can do with this. Now, hopefully you didn't find that a waste of time. This is how I'm going to attack this. In the next couple of videos, I'm going to build a very simple to-do list, and I'm going to build it twice. The first time I build it is going to be almost as simple as I can make it, and then I'll add a little bit to it, and you'll see what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. After we do that, I'm going to build the BMI application twice. Once fairly simple and once more complex. Then I'm going to build a payroll program twice. Once pretty simple, once a little bit more complex. Okay, just so you can see what's going on. And I'll be back with that shortly. See you then.